Hello, everybody. This is Spot of Nerd, and we have got quite the treat for you in this new episode, as we are going to review one of summer's truly highest grossing films that is really awesome, actually. I mean, it really is, and it's also a part of what the term, whatever I don't know if there's words for this, but it's a part of the Barbenheimer thingy-mabobber, whatever's been going around, because obviously these two films came out on the same day. Barbie, Oppenheimer. Today, we're going to review Barbie. Now, the way I want to kind of lay this out, first and foremost is, I don't know whether or not I'm going to put out Barbie's review first or Oppenheimer's review first. So, whenever you're watching this, just go with it, because clearly I needed to see both of these films, Barbie and Oppenheimer. But I wanted to really focus in right here on Barbie because there is a lot to talk about, to the point where even you-know-who had to bring out his handy-dandy tablet because shit, do I have some notes that we need to go over. And we're going to get there, but I just want to promise you, Oppenheimer, the review, is coming as well. We also have San Diego Comic-Con 2023 coming out. So much content is coming out from yours truly, Spot of Nerd. Bear with me while I get it all done, edited, liddy blah blah blah, bibbidi bobbidi boop, you know me. So, just to get it right out of the way, I would really appreciate anybody, if you could, that has not already, please go ahead and subscribe, like, follow, comment, the whole 9 yards. We're on Rumble, YouTube. I make this into a podcast, so you can hear the audio version in case these are longer. Some of these might be short, some of these might be longer. Something tells me this Barbie one is going to be a longer one. So if it's easier for you to listen to it, just go onto anywhere you can listen to podcasts. I recommend Spotify because I do know for a fact everything is playing just fine there. So if you do all that, obviously my huge appreciation, love, and support to all of you that support Spot of Nerd. Those of you that don't, thanks for watching anyway. Thanks for listening. Maybe this might change some minds. I don't know. So let's get into it. The obvious as well, there is going to be spoilers. With this Barbie review, I am going to probably spoil the hell out of it. So if you don't want to know about any of the film, if you haven't seen it already, this is your only warning about spoilers. Now, if you don't care, please continue to watch, all that good stuff. But the bottom line is, one more time, this is your only spoiler warning. I will spoil the film Barbie. I'm going to start off, and I think the best way to start off with this review is, I think what I put on Instagram was kind of the best way to give a very brief description on how I felt about Barbie. So bear with me here for a second while I pull it up. Alright, sorry about that, folks. Totally random topic here. Before we actually jump officially into the Barbie review, this is just more proof of the censorship and the shadow banning, I guess is another word for it, that really does go on currently right now for people that have differing viewpoints to differing things. Because I was just gonna, as I've mentioned, I want to pull up the Instagram post that I did regarding the Barbie film. because I think it explains it in a very nice Cliff Notes aspect. And you can't find me on Google, but you can find me on DuckDuckGo. If you don't know what that means, they're just two different internet browsers. Very interesting. So we'll look into that more later. We do have a lot to talk about, and I hope that you'll hear me out, because a lot of it, let's be real, today's generation doesn't want to hear, but the bottom line is, it's the truth. And let's I'm the weird one now, because I speak facts and truths. I don't understand how we've come to this point in society. It really does just blow my mind. My Instagram post reads, what can I say, folks? My full review will come shortly, aka right now. Remember, this is just my opinion on a fictional character in a fictional film. Barbie was truly the epitome of today's society. Put bluntly, this may be the worst film I have ever seen in regards to pushing a political, ideological, divisive battle between so-called men and women. This film destroys men at every aspect while providing the most cringe humor I've ever witnessed in a film, basically to put men down. The story? Question mark? Well, men are to blame for everything. Your self-esteem issues? Men. Your beauty issues or standards? Men. The fact that you had a loser get you pregnant and won't pay child support? All men. It's all men's fault. Now, men are also dumber than rocks. But don't forget, ladies, you can play us for fools. I see what you did at the end of the film, and we're going to go over that. But don't worry, we understand you can do anything and everything according to Barbie herself. It's cute when they try to make you believe that we're all on the same page. Hopefully you're picking up some sarcasm here. My personal favorite truth behind all of it, meaning this movie Barbie, is that it was a fact that a female created Barbie. That is not falsification. That is not a conspiracy theorist. The fact is, a female created Barbie that basically turned it into a completely several billion trillion dollar industry of toy making. Why does that matter? Well, in today's world, let's just say that women's rights are disappearing faster than the blink of an eye. Yet most seem to be quite silent on the matter. Oh, I'm sorry. Down with the patriarchy. Capitalism is the root of all evil, said every single person who owns a cell phone device, whether that be Samsung, Apple, Google, whatever it means, because paying $1,000 for a cell phone, damn capitalism and your $6 coffees you drink every single day and full shelves on the supermarket of food and choice of everything you ever wanted. Down with it. Why are most people silent on women's rights? And yes, I'm going to say including a lot of women today that have fought so hard to get where you are today. And I used to be I'm breaking off a little bit here, but I used to be very quiet on these things, but I'm not anymore, because again, I do not feel that by me speaking out for women's rights, I'm not a woman, I'm a man. But I see what they have gone through from just the past 100 years alone. It is truly remarkable and incredible what you have all fought for so that you can have right now, whether being a CEO of a company, whether the ability to vote, even the road of choice. Don't need to go down that road, but you know where I'm going. And yet, as I've said, it's all being it's disappearing in the blink of an eye. So we finalize this post with, I mean, it's not like you can't define what a woman is, right? Did anybody watch the documentary from Matt Walsh, What is a Woman? Nobody? Bueller? Anybody? To be very, very clear, I have no issue with certain groups of people today, whether that be trans, LGBTQ, straight, up, down, sideways, in, out, black, white, Asian, American. I don't care about any of that. To me, I judge you based off the quality of your character. I've said this countless times, and I will say this countless times in the future. To me, your character defines you, not anything else. So I ask, why isn't anybody speaking out against this? You promote a film, Barbie, as in this film, that women power, women this, men suck, but okay, why don't you do it in the real world? So, I stand firmly behind women's rights on every scale. But yet this film wants you to believe we're still living in the 1960s. I wonder why that is. Maybe because it's all by design. Allegedly. Wink, wink, wink. Get what I'm going at? So, you can kind of get a drift. If that is something you don't want to hear or look at or witness right now during this review, I would actually encourage you to just stop watching right now and go watch some of my other videos. Maybe hopefully by now Oppenheimer's out or Comic-Con is out, but we're going to talk about that because that is what this film basically focuses on. This film is a joke. This film is truly the worst piece of garbage. I mean, this is up to the level of, what was the worst movie I say I'd ever seen? Zoolander 2 is garbage. Dumb and Dumber 2, where they did it 30 years later. It was just, it's atrocious. So let's take a little dive into the notes that I wrote down here, because again, another fair warning, I'm going to probably bounce back and forth between a lot of it, so you'll just, again, please bear with me. You know Spot of Nerd, I tend to ramble, repeat myself, train of thought goes in 30 different directions. What we will do, though, let me give you the quick synopsis of the film. Cliff notes, you have Barbie in Barbie World. Everything is perfect. There's also Ken in the background. She finds out that she has flat feet and she's turning into a human, so she goes to a wackadoodle Barbie who has been played with too much in the real world. It's like a witch doctor. She says, you gotta go to the real world to find out what's going on with your person. This is like a borderline ripoff of Toy Story, by the way. Your person's in trouble who's playing with you so that you can go find out and be more... basically come back to being the Barbie that you are. So that's what they do. Ken sneaks aboard the car. They go to the real world. They realize the real world is horrible. Everybody's depressed and miserable and it's all terrible things. And again, she uses the Force, because this is a Star Wars film, to basically tap into her owner, who works for Mattel, aka the people that have made Barbie, that they're ruled by nothing but white elite men up at the highest level of CEOs. And you have this person, the reason to why Barbie is losing her Barbiness, because she's lost the ability to, she's so tired of having to prove herself to men and so tired of having to prove herself to the patriarchy, even though she literally works for Mattel and is creating dolls of all kinds, president dolls, astronaut dolls, everything in between. So she now wants to go and make depressed Barbie and stay-at-home Barbie, all these derogatory Barbies. So they eventually come and meet Barbie and her person to try and figure out where they belong. It's one of those stories of, where does Barbie belong? Where does Ken belong? Where does the human playing with Barbie belong? And then the battle between the two worlds, the real world and the Barbie world. It's so... The ending is... Okay, so again, just to finalize the cliff notes, there's then this huge turnover that Ken, even, you know, they're the ones that are like, again, words. Barbie treats men in the Barbie world like dirt. They're useless. They're like puppy dogs. They'll do anything for Barbie. So then the roles reverse, because in the real world, Ken discovers that men are the big head honchos of everything. They run everything, and they're cowboys and sports and beer, and women should be serving them beers and stuff. It's so misogynistically horrific. It's cringe. It is like, you really, honestly, I swear to God, people, you look away a few times because you're almost like, it can't be this bad. You cannot be doing it this, and you actually are. Yep. Yeah, you actually are. So then this final fight dance-off sequence happens between the two Kens, because the Barbies have figured out that they can manipulate, aka use men to do their bidding to get back to normalcy. But where does that leave Barbie? I don't know if I belong in the real world or the Barbie world. Blah, 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 blah. I've fixed my human, everybody's great, everybody's fine. And then Barbie meets her original creator, and at the very last second, she's in this business suit, they're all excited, she's decided to live in the real world, and she goes up to this, you think she's going up for this big interview, this big, like, I'm gonna work in a big building, and she's like, I'm here for my gynecologist appointment. So, you've made a 2.5-hour film destroying men, promoting that women have had to suffer because of men, promoting that women are better than anything else on the planet, and now you've just put yourselves right back down to, well, I gotta go to a gynecologist. Now, again, the reason I'm mentioning this is not to put, I mean, I would encourage you go to a doctor to make sure you're healthy. You know, women are women and boys are boys. You go to your doctors, you get physicals. I've even had female doctors do boy things, you know, where I've had to have a checkup. And the reason why I'm just kind of rambling to you right now is because this is this film. This is this Barbie movie. There's a giant WTF question mark in the overall story of Barbie. What the actual fuck are you trying to do here? There's no story. This is just one giant 2.5-hour propaganda machine to basically destroy the patriarchy. Capitalism is evil. Women rule. But we also got to make sure we talk about today's different types of groups. You gotta make up your fucking minds here, people. You can't, like, I'm not saying the success of the film is bad. I want to be very clear with that. Yeah, it's awesome. It was a female director, Gretel Gerwig, I think her name is, the director of Barbie. She is now the #1 female director to gross the highest grossing film ever, Barbie, which is good news. It really is good news. And I do feel we should celebrate that. But do not celebrate this film and the message that it promotes. This film is doing everything in its power to divide. And as you know me, if you watch, if you listen, that goes against everything to what we should be doing. You can even tell throughout some of the film, it tries to fix itself. It tries to go like, men are terrible, men are horrible. But we also kind of need them because they're cool and we have fun with them. the real world sucks and everything's terrible, everybody's on depressants and, you know, da-da-da-da. But we can also help them because we're toys and, you know, we give people joy. It's like, you try to fail, if I could put it in a sentence. And it's tragic. It really is tragic because I was hoping of going into Barbie with, going into like a comedy. You know, like the Barbie meets the real world. They have some quirkiness thing go on and that's it. I didn't expect to walk into a political, ideological battle between good and evil, men versus women. It is so fucked up beyond, I can't even describe to you to the levels that I wish I could, other than what I'm telling you right now. And I would love to know your thoughts. I know 99% of you probably disagree with everything I'm saying, but I know that there's some of you out there that have got to see a little bit about what I'm saying right now and going, yeah, he kind of makes sense. So let's dive a little deeper because I do want to get into a little bit of my notes. My note first out of the gate is what the actual fuck. Patriarchy, men versus women. Let's see, my favorite of course being the white man is owning everything, as always at the top, the CEO. Men are typical dumbasses. Oh, there is a political system in the film. There is an actual constitution. Yeah. It just... Women, of course, don't allow men into the constitution in the Barbie world. And even at the end, when they take it back, they still don't allow men into any sort of political aspect of it. So, great job in equality and inclusion. Great job on that. That really was good, you know. It is all about Barbie. Again, we've talked about this, where she apparently is God's gift to the world. When she finds out she's not, everything is over. All the world is done. Nothing else matters. I wish I would just die. It's almost, like I've said, it's borderline, like, you go from this really happy, excited, humorous tone to depressing, horrible. I feel like dirt now because you don't really have any sort of inspiration whatsoever. You just want to die. But yet you're a fucking Barbie toy, so that's just fucking weird. The weird ass dance scenes. Yeah, that's another big one too. A lot of musical in this, a lot of musical genre between the Kens, between the Barbies and the Kens. It is cringeworthy. It's like watching Tim Burton films on acid. Do not know what they were thinking in that regard because, as I've mentioned, broken record, that's going to be my next broken record moment. As I've mentioned, this story makes zero sense. So when the story makes extra no sense, I guess they thought, hey, you know what would be perfect to put in this scene right now? Let's put a dance routine. Let's put a dance number in here. Because that makes sense. Jesus fuck. Weird ass jokes that were just cringeworthy. You know, the babies smashing dolls in the beginning. The trailer was funny, I'll give you credit. That was funny in the beginning, but that, believe it or not, has a lot more into the storyline than you would think. So Barbie's person, just like Andy is Woody and Buzz's toy, there's this sequence near the end to where she just starts venting about how horrible men are, you know, and how tired she is, about how she's never beautiful enough, she doesn't, you know, like, she doesn't do enough for her daughter or enough for her husband. And yet we get maybe 30 seconds of her actual husband in the film, and he's actually trying to learn her language. So we can tell, and I apologize if I'm getting this wrong, she's either Hispanic, maybe Colombian, Spanish, things like that. So he's legitimately trying to learn her language, but yet she goes on this 5 to 10 minute rant about how men are the most horrible things on the planet, And yet, in the 30 seconds that we saw of her husband, he's raised an incredible daughter who goes to school, who gets good grades, who has a beautiful home, a nice-ass car, and yet she complains about how tired she is of it all. Even though my husband is trying to learn more about me and try to incorporate more about me into his life, fuck him, right? Fuck him. This is what... I'm going to go off a little bit here and then we'll go back. This is another one of those things. I've talked about it from the relationship standpoint in today's world. It, again, does not matter who or what you are. Gay, straight, LGBTQ, trans, everything. Human beings no longer have the ability to connect. I mean connect on a personal level. If one little thing is out of place, out of your perfect world, you kick them to the curb. You don't even look twice at them like a homeless person on the street. And it bugs the shit out of me because when you have this shit on the big screen about a female just going off, and yes, it could be a male too. Jesus Christ. Our ancestors, grandparents, parents, they're disgraced at this generation for that very purpose. Nothing is perfect, people, when it comes to a relationship. You have to fight for a relationship. You have to fight for love. Anybody who thinks that you don't, I'm sorry to say, you're a fool. It is how you get out of those dark and those bad times that will define your relationship. But you've got to come together. You've got to communicate. You have to compromise. Why is this so difficult? And again, I will just finish it with this piece because you did the opposite in this film. How is this woman tired of men and everything in between when this man in 30 seconds, I could predict, does everything for you, wants to be everything that he can to be the best for you? Why are you mad at that? That just blows my freaking mind. I'll stop that spiel with that. So, we've covered most of this. I guess I realized I did actually keep most of it in my brain, which is weird. You know me, I tend to forget a lot. So, let's kind of wrap this episode up because obviously we've been talking a lot about it and been very passionate about it. So, the way I want to finish off the review of the Barbie film is going back to what we talked in the beginning. And what I mean by that is women's rights, women power, and everything in between that encompasses women. Once again, to be very clear, I have nothing against folks that are trans, LGBTQ, gay, straight, black, white, Indian, whatever it is. I have no issue. I judge you off the character, your personality, not what you physically look like. So, where does that leave us in the Barbie film? It leaves us with a lot of division. It leaves us with a lot of hate towards men. It leaves us absolutely nowhere in a positive direction. Have we forgotten what Barbie was? Barbie was an inspiration to an entire generation of women. It inspired so many. Gosh, let's look it up right now. Hold on one second. Let's look it up. 1959. That is literally that's nearly under 70 years. Over 60 years Barbie has been out. It inspired women everywhere to be lawyers, to be astronauts, to be doctors, physicians. And there's even, as the years went along, as the decades went along, I see this because I've shopped at toy stores and Targets because they're next to the Transformers, they're next to the Star Wars figures. I've seen it with my own eyes. There's even ones where you can buy, like, there's a Barbie that might have a wheelchair, or there's a Barbie that might have, maybe something else that doesn't make them potentially just your standard white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Barbie. And that is what's so fucking awesome about it. is because it's showing girls you can be anything you want. And I am so passionate about this because it's just being thrown away. And I don't understand why a lot of you are not saying anything about it. I'm not saying there are certain groups that don't deserve a place in this time in history. I'm not. Obviously they do. But what I'm saying is, what are happening to women and women's rights? And they're just being wiped away. I do not understand it. Please make it make sense. Barbie, to me, this film being so big and so publicized and marketed, you should, now obviously it was because it's being a huge success from the financial standpoint, but the messaging is what I'm trying to get at and what I will finish this video off with. It's the messaging that completely missed the point here. You had a chance to provide a message to all the women out there, to all the people, whether you're trans, LGBTQ, even men. You had a chance to tell them about, here's Barbie, an incredible story. Sure, we can put a little comedic spin on it in today's world. Just all you had to look at the trailer. Obviously you knew this wasn't going to be a documentary or serious, but you could have made something that gave a positive message to everybody and still give us a great film. But instead, you gave us dog shit. You gave us division, and you basically put into the minds of anybody who watches this film that men are horrible, disgusting, they'll do everything they can to destroy you, and basically fuck men. Just fuck them all. That's the message you put out there. You tried to redeem yourself at the end, or even a little bit at the end towards, that final section of the film, whatever you call it. It doesn't matter because you've already done the damage. I really don't know what else to tell you other than I would encourage you to not go see this film. I would not even give this any cups of tea out of 4 cups of tea from Spot of Nerd. Am I mad? No. I'm not mad at the film. I just feel that there was a huge missed opportunity here. I wanted to go see Barbie. Hand to God, I swear I wanted to go see this film, and I did go see it. I wanted to see it. I was expecting a little bit of the wokeness, blah 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 blah. I didn't expect this much. I didn't expect it to be the #1 film I've ever seen in my life to have so much political agenda that I can't even fathom the words to put together on the sheer amount that came out of the film. Such a missed opportunity. It really, really was. So I will just leave it at that. I do not recommend you go watch this film. Save your money, save your time, go watch something else, probably Oppenheimer, because I'm assuming that is going to be severely much better than this shit. With all of that said, if you made it this far, my huge thanks and appreciation. I would love to know what you thought. Tell me in the comments. Am I wrong? Am I an asshole? Let me know. Let's talk about it. Let's collab. Maybe even do a video. Let's do a conversation with each other. I don't know. Let's have some fun with it. Let's have a conversation. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe, follow, likes, comments, all of that stuff for Spot of Nerd. Hugely greatly appreciated if you all could do that. I thank you all, including the haters, for watching, especially if you got this far. And we will see you guys next time. Later, y'all. Alright, little quick end credit scene that has nothing to do with Barbie. San Diego Comic-Con 2023 was absolutely incredible. It it's gonna require me to do a lot of editing, so you're probably gonna see these reviews and maybe some other podcasts before San Diego Comic-Con 2023. But I promise they're coming. Please stay tuned. I promise. They are coming, and you're not gonna want to miss them. They are so much fun, so much better than Barbie, because it's fucking Comic-Con, people.